tell you just a little bit about what's on my little mind today. I will tell you that I'm not a happy camper. Israel's President Isaac Herzog said, "I am devastated by the scenes of Washington, D.C. This is a despicable act of hatred of anti-Semitism, which has claimed the lives of two young employees of the Israeli embassy." Our president, Donald Trump, said that he is in deep sorrow over the shocking murder in Washington of two Israeli embassy staff members. Corey Mayer, the director of communications of one of our great Jewish national organizations, we are outraged by and horrified by the terrorist attack that resulted in the murder of two Israeli embassy staff members, Sarah Lynn Milgram and Yaron Lishensky. And then Hillel International said, "We are devastated by the murders of Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lishensky, who were tragically killed in the horrific anti-Semitic attack at the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. last night, following the AJC event for young Jewish professionals." The Center for Jewish History. Our prayers are with the victims, their families, and our colleagues at the museum as they cope with the senseless act of violence. There is no place for anti-Semitism in our society. It cannot be tolerated, minimized, or ignored. And the last one I'm going to read, since there are so many, and they're all the same. The Coalition for Jewish Values, representing over 2,500 traditional Orthodox rabbis in America, American public policy, condemns in the strongest terms the anti-Semitic murder of two Israeli embassy workers. You know, my action is a bit different than all that predictable, formulaic, and useless garbage I just read to you. It's garbage. I'm sorry. We hear all those same ineffective words every damn time something bad happens to Jews from our Jewish leaders. The same words over and over. Horrific. We feel bad. Our prayers are with you. We condemn in the strongest terms. We heard this after the Shoah, the murders in Pittsburgh, the attack on October 7th, 2023, the incidents occurring at the institutions of higher education all the time, and so many other times throughout our history. That's what we keep hearing. Words are interesting, but what good do they do? They don't stop it, and they don't even slow it down. It is a virus that is spreading by the ravenous Iranian Jewish hatred, and the words are no more powerful to stop them than they could stop COVID or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or MS or cancer. I feel bad that all this is happening and blah, blah, blah. I pray to the families. It's garbage. It takes hard work, laser-like focus, total commitment, and absolute love for our fellow Jewish families to begin to get to this problem. Not a bunch of garbage words. I think about how other groups deal with the sickness of bigotry aimed at them. Think about how the Black community responds. They don't say these garbage words. They get out and protest. They get out and do things. Whether you like it or not, it works. Yes, we use words. But the Blacks who use words do other things, and it goes a lot further. While some of their actions go a bit too far, and I admit that, and they don't need to, it works. Because how many non-Blacks today would even think about using the N-word, at least in public? How many of us would use it? How many Jews would refer to these people as Schwarzes anymore? We used to, but the word was never meant to be derogatory. But today we would never use such a word. On the other hand, how many people find it easy to call us, not us, others, to call us Jews, dirty Jews, damn Jews, goddamn Jews, or the F word Jews? We hear it. Don't tell me you never heard it. Probably the key takeaway from this Shabbat's Torah reading is from Vayikra, Leviticus chapter 26. The rabbinic sages call this the list of curses. We call it the Tochacha, in English, the scolding. This chapter highlights the consequences of Bnei Israel who fail to follow God's mitzvot. These admonitions contain prophecies of terror, disease, warfare, famine, and desolation. You know, you could read these and get upset when we read the Torah or when you study Torah. But this aliyah that we have for this one, as I said before, nobody really should have this aliyah. It's not an honor. So we let the Baal Koreh, the Torah reader, read it quickly in a low voice, but loud enough to be heard by the congregation. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the smaller Jewish laws of Rabbi Shlomo Gansfried, tells us that the Tochacha must always be read without a break. You got to read it straight through. Can't take a break. Additionally, the 3 verses before and after the curses must be read in a normal, fully audible voice. Why? So that we should remember that God would eternally remember the divine covenant with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, even if we do not. God will never break that promise. Again, the Tochacha is a list of curses that could be levied if we fail to obey the mitzvot. And like I said, go and look if you don't believe me. Don't believe me. Go look yourself. Every single one of the listed curses has happened in some way or another. Every one of them. On the other hand, who of us, any of us, anybody, have you observed the mitzvot that are required of you, or have I? No, not all of them. Some of them, sure, but not most of them, maybe. The rabbis find it particularly interesting that there are 49 curses on this Shabbat's Torah reading, while the list found later in Devarim, which is at the end of the Torah, there's another list of Tochacha. It's got 98. So today we got 49 and then 98. If you take 49 and 49, how many do you get? In other words, there are twice as many curses listed then as there are today. So many commentators agree that the Tochacha is read close to the major holidays. It's just true. The one we read today is not far away. It's a couple of weeks from, or a week actually, from Shavuot. And that is the anniversary when we get the Torah, when we get the mitzvot. It's a week away. The one we read in Devarim is right before Rosh Hashanah. So personally, it is hard not to notice the coincidence that there are 49 curses now and then 49 days of the Omer, which we're counting. Shavuot is on the 50th day. The point is that it is during these times when we Jews need purification and introspection the most. Do we even think about it? We have counting every day, but we don't even think about it. Most of us don't count. I put it in the email I send out every day so people could see it and think about it and ask, I don't think anybody does. Maybe somebody. But there are more curses before the high holy days because it is time for repentance and atonement. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, a midrashic story about when God held a mountain over the heads of Bnei Israel. The first and most popular interpretation is that it was a threat. God is threatening us with this mountain being held over our heads. So I got to ask, why would God want to scare Bnei Israel with annihilation? In other words, you don't follow the mitzvot, I'm going to drop this mountain on you. You know, God gives us free will. So this kind of a threat by God is unreasonably influencing our free will. But does it? How many of us think about this mountain being held over our head that God could drop on us if we don't? Nobody. Nobody. Some believe that God was using the mountain more like we use an umbrella. God put it upside down, the mountain, upside down over Bnei Israel to protect us from the curses raining down upon us if we should use our free will to not observe the mitzvot. Okay, that's nice too. But I believe our Creator wants us to choose God out of love, not out of fear. So now let's look at human history, especially during the past 75 to 100 years. Who here cannot help but notice that God would not need to punish anybody? Did anybody notice this? We, not just our fellow Jews, but all of humankind, have brought these things down upon ourselves. Hitler, Stalin, Pol Pot, the killing fields of Cambodia, Myanmar, several African and South African countries, 9/11, Ukraine, and the nonstop and growing terrorism against the Jewish people, our Jewish people, in our Jewish homeland and in the rest of the world, including right here in the good old USA. We should never ignore the fact that there are enough nuclear weapons being allowed to go to insane people that potentially will wipe away all of history when they proceed to destroy the earth in the name of their God. How serious is the world in keeping the ability of total destruction away from Iran? It isn't. It's baloney. It's words. It's talk. It's garbage. Scary? Are you scared? You should be. It's very scary. That is why I am not just in disagreement with the heartfelt but useless words used by our leaders whenever these atrocities are showered down against the Jewish people. In fact, I'm downright pissed. Sorry for the word, but it's true. I can't use clean words for this. This is garbage. This is terrible. Thursday, I spent most of the day sending emails and calling many of my peers around the country, asking them to work with me to call for a physical protest and social media campaigns to highlight that all bigotry is bad. We must do what we can to highlight that bigotry against Jews should not be tolerated any more than bigotry against blacks. You want to know what each and every one of these rabbis told me? You want to know why I'm pissed? You're right, Eli, but I do not have enough free time. You're right. I don't have enough free time. Free time? Free time? Can you believe that my peers have no time to work together to help stop hatred against our own enemies? You see why I'm so angry, so irritated, so exasperated, and so pissed? You see why? I hope you are. Even though these same rabbis studied the Tochacha this week, just as I did, and even though they have read the same Tochacha as I did at the end of our Torah, at the end of Torah in Devarim, we also learned that Moshe predicted that when the Mashiach will come, the people of the entire world will come to us and hold on to our shirt tails. The nation of priests, that's who we are. The light among the nations, that's what we're supposed to be. We don't act like it. What will we tell them when they're holding on to our shirt tails? There's only one answer. We will tell them that God taught us to live our lives and how to behave thousands of years ago in the Torah. It tells us. And that all people on the earth should live the way the Torah describes. That's what we're supposed to tell them. If only we ourselves would listen to that advice now. We don't. If only we would listen. If only. And as we said before, there is something we need, and we said it. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Strengthen, strengthen. May we all be strengthened. We sure need it. Shabbat Shalom and Am Yisroel Chai.